Welcome to another episode of the Gritty Hour, and this is a very special episode. I got my troops here, the boys from the Bronx, all the guys I grew up with, back in the Holy Bronx, as one of our guests would say. And I'll introduce you to them individually first, and then we'll just have a conversation. Mr. George Bauer, followers of our podcast have seen him a couple of times in the past. He's the top 10 list guy. How you doing, Georgie?
I'm good, Thomas. How are you? How's everybody?
I have Fred Romandetto, who did a cameo over the phone once when we did a podcast about pizzerias in New York. How you doing, Freddie?
Good. All things pizza. Good. Glad to be here. Glad to see everyone.
And I got Denis McCarthy, who's all the way down in Jersey, which I think Fred is too. Dennis is sporting his David Letterman look. We're all very proud to see it. How you doing?
Greetings.
Welcome
I'm
to
doing good. Thank you, sir. Nice to be here.
And I also have Mr. J.R. McCarthy, who you've seen several times on our podcast, poet extraordinaire. How you doing, J.R.? Welcome back.
Thomas, thank you for the invite. I'm seeing guys today I haven't seen in much too long.
Well,
It's beautiful.
Mr.
It's like Mount Rushmore from where I am right now. And my brother.
Yes, we have one more party. Hopefully, will be joining us soon. He's traveling at the moment, so
Elijah.
We're all here in New York except for Freddie and Dennis. Actually, only JR and I are here in New York. But Mr.
This is a multi-state affair.
We're all here from New York except most of us.
It's the true story of the Bronx. Everybody goes elsewhere when they graduate from childhood. So, But anyway, how is everybody going? How's he doing, Mr. McCarthy?
Are you speaking to me or my
well,
brother?
either one. The first one that spoke, you know. Yeah.
I'll give it to Dennis.
I'm good. You know,
Because once I start.
The migration patterns of folks from the Bronx are typically Bronx people go to either Westchester, New Jersey, and Brooklyn, Queens people go to Long Island.
That is true. Yes, so some of us went even further beyond those borders, you know.
Well, I'm still right on the border, boys.
Yeah.
Well, Georgie,
Go ahead.
Georgie, you were Las Vegas by way of Westchester, right?
Yes, we're Upper Westchester and then Vegas in 2003.
Actually, you were Lower Westchester, Upper Westchester, then Vegas, right?
Yeah. I had that place in Mount Vernon for a while.
Yeah.
Forgot about Mount Vernon.
The apartment.
And for a while, when you were in the Bronx, I guess before you got married, you lived on Regis Philbin block.
Yeah, once I went into the police academy and graduated from that, I went to Astoria for a year. I lived on 41st Street in Steinway, with a fourth flight walk up. So just easier to commute to work and stuff. But I had no car, so it was difficult to get to the Bronx when I wanted to. Then I moved to Kruger Avenue in the Bronx, had an apartment there, and then I went in with a couple of friends from the police department to a house up in Tuckahoe.
I forgot about Tuckahoe.
On forget the name of the street, but it was a nice house. And then I ended up buying a co-op in Mount Vernon, the Fleetwood section of Mount Vernon. And then Eileen and I got married, and we bought a house up in Yorktown in 1996. We moved into that house.
It was after the Mount Vernon. I was going to say just about everybody in this podcast has helped you move at one time or another.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've moved throughout different interest rate cycles.
Here we are in another one, Jimmy Carter cycle.
Yeah.
Freddie, I'm sure has a comment about that. How you doing down there, Freddie?
Good. What about Jimmy Carter? He's dying.
I heard you.
Well, I don't want to say anything bad about him if he's dying, but it seems like history is repeating itself. The current administration reminds me of that administration.
Oh, you mean the Biden administration reminds you of the Carter administration?
Essentially.
What a glowing review of the Biden administration.
I'm being
At least Carter was a nice guy. Biden, well, let's not get into that.
No, well, we can. I can, because I'm on Rumble now too. So
Carter was a good president, a good person, bad president.
Right, exactly.
So all the fellas in this room that you guys are seeing, we all went to the same school together. In fact, I first met just about everybody here in 7th grade when I moved to Parkchester in the Bronx from the Castle Hill Projects in the Bronx. J-Lo said goodbye, and I went and met you fellas. St. Helena's in the Bronx, under the watchful eye of Father Derivan.
Veritas, per crucium ad lucem.
Yeah, I said it.
Father Derivan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To Father Derivan.
Who's now a Monsignor, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, but he'll always be Father D.
Yeah, he doesn't like being called Monsignor. He'd rather be called Father.
He absolutely doesn't like to be called Red Buttons, which is what I started to call him when he became a Monsignor.
Well, he called you.
Because Monsignors get to wear red buttons.
He called
Is that
you
because
Mr. Brown. You can call him Red Buttons.
He never got a dinner. Is that?
He never got a dinner.
Yeah,
Father Derivan never got a dinner.
never had a dinner. In the store, out of the clear blue, I don't know who here knows Walter Henning. Came into
Yes,
the store with his
yes,
wife.
I
Class
remember.
of '86, Monsignor Scanlon High School.
Yeah, he came into the store with his wife on Sunday, yesterday. Oh, yeah, 2 days ago. It was kind of
Is that-
strange.
Is that the kind of thing where you recognize the person, or they recognize you?
I recognized him after he said, "Hey, Tom, it's me, Walter Henning."
He was very subtle.
But he mentioned
all he
Mr.
had to say?
McCarthy.
Tom, did he say it with clear enunciation and diction? Because I taught him public speaking at Monsignor Scanlon High School.
Well, he
in
did mention
1986.
you. He did mention
Yes.
he was a student under your tutelage then.
Yeah. Tutelage.
Tutelage, yeah.
Yes.
Nice fella, Walter Henning.
Very much so.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a little out of left field,
Does he live up there?
He just bought a house. He just moved. He just retired from the fire department. FDM,
Retired.
28 years, and he just bought a house. He moved out of the Bronx, bought a house in Southbury, Connecticut, and apparently he goes on day trips. He's just retired 2 months ago, so he said,
I
yeah.
was going to say our 2 or 3 times retired civil servant colleague here has it over all of us. Nobody gets to retire except civil servants,
Really?
right, Georgie?
Yep, absolutely. It's if you can get through 20, it's a good deal.
There you go.
George is going to write a book on how to actually retire in style.
Right.
I hope that I will be able to afford that book when it comes out.
It'll either be that or eating in retirement.
Yeah, George, just see your way clear to, send me a
I'll
copy,
send you a
right?
signed copy.
Thank
Okay,
you,
don't worry about it.
thank you.
Throw
Even you
it
can send me, a galley. I'll correct the grammar for you. I won't charge you much.
You're
My
assuming I
guess
don't
is
know
as
how to
good as
write?
anybody's. Yeah.
So, Georgie, you
Yes.
live in Florida and Vegas now.
Well, mostly Vegas. We bought a house in Florida in the Tampa area with the idea that we will eventually relocate there permanently. So Eileen, my wife, wanted to be near water, and as you guys probably know, there's no water in Vegas.
Yeah.
So we discussed and decided to go down to Florida. We bought a place about just over a year ago. We bought a place, so we go back and forth. The kids are still here in Vegas, so I come back once in a while, and depending on events and stuff, and she'll come back too. But right now she's in Florida.
Well,
Actually, she's in New York. She's in
Whether
New
you
York
live
for
in-
St.
whether
Patty's
you live
Day.
in Florida or Vegas, you have a giant / concert room.
Yes, in fact, my room in Florida is painted exactly the same way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just don't have anything, not much hanging up yet.
Did you do that for the occasional times when you're a guest on the Gritty Hour, so people won't get confused?
No, where Carmen San Diego, right? Where is George?
Will,
Yeah.
will you be in your office for the tournament, George?
I will be probably at the beginning of the tournament on Thursday, which is really the beginning. I'll probably be at the sports book because it's Thursday, Friday opening the tournament or the opening of the tournament. The sports book is crazy because there's so many
Yeah.
games, so many ways to bet it. People going crazy. It's a lot of fun. So I'll probably do that, because I'm kind of on my own here. Brianna's here, but she's working. So
And Freddie,
I
you're
guess-
down in Sopranoville, right? Cedar Grove area.
Verona. Well, next
Well,
to
that's
Cedar
it.
Grove.
Yeah, the acoustics. are
Actually, yeah. There's a lot of soprano-age around here. There's his mother's house, if you remember, where he tripped at one time out on the stoop. That's around the corner from me.
Is Verona near Cedar Grove?
Yeah, they're connected. They
Okay.
border each other.
Okay.
There's a few spots here and there. I mean, but
Are you close to Bada Bing?
no,
No.
nah. I passed it, on the way into the Bronx, which we really don't go anymore. There's nobody left in the Bronx.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
No, but yeah, wait, Bronxville, not the Bronx.
Ah,
Right?
Fred, I'm having you on. I could be in the Bronx in 5 minutes.
Actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
that would entice you.
You live not far from Freddie's brother, right?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, he lives in where does he live? Thornwood?
Thornwood.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
That's up by Ossining, I think.
Pretty close. I have no sense of direction
Yeah.
to speak of.
All I remember is
my
all
mills
the
grind
roads named
slowly.
after Civil War generals.
Yeah,
As it
that's
should
funny.
be.
That's funny how you immediately pointed that out that time, right?
Yeah. We went there for a barbecue or something.
Wait, are they Confederate? No, they're not Confederate, right?
No, all Union
Okay.
generals. Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to start renaming streets these days.
I guess the high rent district is Grant Avenue. I guess
Probably.
Yeah.
So no, it's funny. I
Or-
see George. You have your sport room. I mean, we just started. Actually, the room I'm in, we just started turning into a music room.
nice.
And I mean, we have some memorabilia. Get some stuff. I
Concert
mean,
posters?
as you can see behind me, we really got
Doing a
Most
hell
of
of a
the
job,
stuff's in-
Fred.
most of the stuff's in front of me. And a lot of it's still packed. We have to put it out. But I mean, I'm looking at one. There's a drum head that ELP signed, all three of them.
Wow. Wow.
And we won it at a contest at a bar. And Danielle, she answered correctly, Carnival 9, which everybody thinks is Welcome Back, My Friends. But she answered it right? So some guy who I think got the wrong answer comes over and was like practically on his knees begging. Like, I think he would have gave us $1,000 for that drum head.
Take it.
Was it
Like-
which P? Was it Powell or Palmer?
Oh no, Powell.
Oh,
No,
Powell.
I'm sorry, not Powell. Palmer. No. This is when they were all still alive.
Palmer's the only one left, and he's
I
out
saw
on a
him at the
virtual
Garden.
tour.
When I
He's
saw
out
it
on
at the
a
garden,
virtual
with
tour
Powell.
with Emerson and Lake.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
we're
was-
The age we
working
live
on
in.
that. So
I was
Yeah,
thinking this the other day. Did they ever get into the Hall of Fame? Them and
They
and
did
Yes?
not.
No,
They
they're
did
not in
not.
the Hall of Fame.
Yes, did. That's a
Dave.
yes,
yes for
finally
yes,
did.
and a no for ELP.
Speaking of yes, how many iterations of them are out there? Because John Anderson is playing, but not with yes.
John
Right.
Anderson isn't playing with yes.
John
No, but
Anderson he's playing with Wakeman when they get together, and there's a guitarist that was one of the first changes in the band. I forget
Patrick Moraz.
who's that. No, Patrick. No, guitarist.
Oh, guitar. All right. No, I'm not even going to try.
It'll come to me. I saw in Florida a few months ago. I saw the Steve Howe's Yes down in Florida for their 50th anniversary of Close to the Edge, which is
oh
this time
yeah,
it was on my top 10 list.
they did the whole album.
The whole album. It was great.
I saw him last year, Anderson last year over here. Maybe Dennis, you're familiar with the Wellmont in Montclair.
Yes.
The Wellmont Montclair, yeah. He played with a rock academy, a bunch of teenagers
Yep.
who were amazing. These kids, let me tell you, they
Steve
were
Howe
fantastic.
was doing chamber music with high school students and college students. He was sitting in with them on Bach concertos for a while there. Really, really interesting. You know, there's
Like
a great
code for something.
unsung hero. You know, a guitarist whose name doesn't come up nearly enough.
Well, who was that guy? Was it Steve Lake that played with Ian Anderson a Christmas in a church somewhere?
Oh, Greg Lake and Ian Anderson recorded Father Christmas. I believe in Father Christmas together.
Was it in a cathedral?
I believe
That's
so.
no, yeah, with the Ian Anderson. I
Yeah.
put that up every Christmas.
Mhm.
Put that up on Facebook every Christmas. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's not the Kinks' Father Christmas stuff.
No, it's not the
No,
King's
no,
Father
no,
Christmas.
no.
You know, I found out
believe-
recently on the
Yes.
flip side of that single, I Believe in Father Christmas, Greg Lake, there's a song called Bug, B-U-G,
Mhm.
which is a really cool song. It's not really Christmas, but check it out if you trip over it one of these days.
Bug, are there lyrics?
Yeah,
Because it's not on Works. It's not on either one of the
I think
Works
this was a throwaway song that
LPs.
he threw on the back of that 45.
It's only a matter of time before it's probably already in a box set of some description.
Boys, excuse me while I develop some ambiance in the room here.
The guitarist is Trevor Rabin that tours with Anderson and Wakeman right now. So
From
and
Drama.
Wakeman's
Oh,
been
another-
touring.
another-
Wakeman's been touring himself.
Former Yes iteration, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Rabin and
Yeah, Trevor and Jeffrey Horn. Jeffrey,
Yeah.
Jeffrey
no, Jeffrey. Say
Jeffrey
it again,
Downs.
George. Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Downs.
Downs. Jeffrey Downs plays in Steve Howe's Yes.
Wow.
And Alan White was in there until he passed away. They've got a new drummer. And
Not Bill Bruford.
not Bill Bruford. He never came back. Oh, he did. That's not true. They came back for some sort of. They came back and did a tour with like two separate versions. They had they normally have 5 or 6 players. Now they had 9 players, and they all were up in the round doing. They did a tour together. They didn't get along though. So Howard Anderson did not.
Bruford went into the Hall of Fame with them. I'm just sitting here thinking that Thomas, in his wildest dreams, could not have imagined that when he invited us to this forum, Yes would be on the menu.
Well, George and I did a couple of podcasts. One was our favorite concerts of all time. One was our favorite albums of all time. And I think Yes popped up on both, thanks to George.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
George.
Yes, that was a good one. The concerts. Me and Danielle listened to it, and I think I was there at a few of them, if I remember.
Absolutely.
What do
you
you
know,
use?
You
What?
know, because you were one of the guys that got into Yes with me. I mean,
Yeah. My JR, my first
Yes,
Yes
sir.
concert. My first concert ever was Yes on the day Keith Moon died.
With Jimmy White?
No, it's just me and George.
Oh,
And
you and
somebody
George. All
else.
right. I'm thinking you and I went one time and saw them in the round.
Yes, it was in the round. Yes.
With Jimmy White and another fella, a friend of his from Woodlawn.
Trevor Rabin.
Wasn't Trevor Rabin? It wasn't. It wasn't him.
You don't live in Woodlawn.
He was
No, but it
on
was
the
the-
stage.
It was actually the day Keith Moon died. That's always sticks in my memory.
Well, you know
Yeah.
where I was the day Keith Moon died.
Rosemont.
I was at the Rosemont.
Rosemont.
I was at
JR.
the. What, Joseph? Why are you so depressed? Why are you dragging around? What's the matter? What's the matter? Keith Moon died. Keith Moon. Who's Keith Moon? He's the drummer from the Who when he died. You want I should close the store? It's a shunder.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Didn't he once give you condolences on Christ as well?
Oh,
gosh.
that was the Green Dragon.
Oh.
That was the kid that would work the register with the Green Dragon for takeout. Because I asked him at the last minute if there was any meat in the fried rice. Her at the last minute. Yes. And she said, "Oh, because of Lent. You don't eat meat because of Christ." I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, sorry about Christ." And she,
There's plenty of beef.
Yeah, I don't think you want that fortune cookie.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Hey,
You will be
speaking of Catholics, if you guys want to
Speaking of the Catholics,
I read a ham-handed segue.
I think we're all still Catholics here, right?
Yes.
if you guys want to eat corned beef to St. Patrick's, you could come to the Archdiocese of Newark.
No, Dolan gave us a dispensation
Oh,
as
he
well,
did too?
Fred. He
Oh,
did.
okay.
He did.
Good for
When
you. All right.
when your archbishop is Irish, you always get the dispensation. You know.
Yeah, but Fred and Dennis aren't
Yeah.
in his diocese.
Mhm.
I think we are in the same diocese.
Newark? I think I'm in the Newark.
You don't count. Dolan doesn't go
No.
into Jersey.
No, but
no.
Newark does.
The Newark
I-
Archdiocese.
No,
Yeah.
the Cardinal Dolan, the Archbishop of New York, explicitly dispensed everybody, but only for corned beef. I think it's got some kind of. I think he's got some kind
Oh,
of.
really?
Yes.
You can't have
So
a
you got to
burger?
decide
You know.
between lobster and
Right.
beef. I
Right.
don't know.
Well, God help me. I think last Friday I had a meatball hero. So what the hell's the difference, you know?
I'm making a phone call right now. I got Cardinal Dolan on speed dial.
Yes. The lottery numbers are as follows.
Yes. That was Cardinal
Oh, that was
O'Connor.
O'Connor, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, there's never been a Cardinal of New York Archdiocese that wasn't Irish or Irish heritage since the Archdiocese was formed.
I did not know that.
Little tidbit for
Oh.
you.
Fun fact.
You're right enough about that.
Yes.
Well, I mean, J.R. Fred, I mean, you've gone through the file cabinet in the crypt, right? So,
Oh,
Uh,
no, I
well,
never had
you've
the
gone
honor.
there.
Well,
No.
now, I went looking for the file cabinet in the crypt. I didn't find it. I hear it's there.
For those who don't
It's only a matter of
know,
time.
JR and Fred both worked at St. Patrick's Cathedral in high school.
As did Dennis.
Oh, Dennis, you did too?
Yes.
I did too.
Yes, I did briefly after when I graduated college.
Mhm.
6 month stint. Very interesting 6 months.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting people.
I was working there during my first year at Scanlon as well. I was doing double duty.
It's one of the few organizations I've worked for that are still going concerns.
So
As of this morning, anyway.
So the tree
Yeah,
has
yeah.
been to enough masses to hold you for a few years.
It doesn't work like that,
Oh,
Thomas.
it doesn't work like
It
that.
doesn't work like that. Would that it did, but
Yeah. Well, things have changed since then, right? It's
Those
like high security there now.
I wouldn't even know, to tell you the truth. But we had the run of the place.
Hmm.
Fred remembers,
Oh, yeah.
we had the run of the place.
Now, is it true that
I don't know. Can we mention some of the security breaches?
I think that Tom, not to be pushy, I think that might be worth another podcast.
Just talking about St.
True
Patrick's.
stories of Mother Church.
Mm-hmm.
On the night John Lennon died, we were at St. Patrick's for a big celebration, and we had to get everybody out because we were running late, and the organist had an appointment uptown, and we bet him that we couldn't clear the cathedral of over 1,000 people in 20 minutes. And if we did, he had to play Stars and Stripes Forever on the great organ of St. Patrick's Cathedral before he left. And he did. And I will finish that story because it gets even better. I know it's a great story, right? But
Yeah. I'm enthralled.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's up in heaven now, so no harm, no foul. But just one of the many adventures. And Dennis and I, of course, saved the building one time.
Of course.
Saved it from burning to the ground. But that's
But-
also a story for another time.
You
Well-
also had other common employments, though. Didn't JR, you and Fred both work for Mr. Batra?
No, Mr. Batra called me on Christmas morning
Oh
to see
my
if I was
gosh.
busy.
Oh, who is he now?
That would be Pran Batra. Take it away, Fred.
Well, it was in high school. It was like, they put one of those postings like after school jobs, where they paid like, slave wages. So it was this little hole in the wall place on East Tremont, sort of a little ways down from the Tremont Diner, right? A little hole in the wall, no sign, nothing. I asked him once, I go, "There's no sign here," and he goes, "For tax purposes," yeah, whatever that meant. But they claimed they were bottling correction fluid. I didn't know you could sell that much correction fluid. Back when you had
I
typewriters.
make many mistakes.
Yeah, I don't know where that stuff was going.
A great many
God
errors.
knows. I'm on some FBI list.
Well, Freddie, didn't you and George work in a beer distributor around here?
Oh yeah, the famous
Yeah.
Parkchester beers, right? Yeah.
Just a bit.
Plenty of stories there.
And let us
Oh,
name of that
let us not forget that George, Dennis, and I were gainfully employed by the great Frank Tonetti.
Newspaper men.
Yes.
I was employed by him.
That's right, Tom. You too. I don't think you, Fred, but Tom. Yeah, we all. I think
Too early.
4 out of
Too
5
early
of
for
us
me.
delivered newspapers.
Too
Yeah.
early. I
My
went
first
collecting
job.
with you a few times.
Yes, which was a trip in itself.
An assorted cast
Yes,
of
yes.
customers.
Surprised my father let me work there.
We'd all end up in the candy store with the playing using after collections, playing all the video games and the
That's
side
right.
You got
Pinball games.
With Mike and Al Perone.
a
Yes.
slice of Coke and a cream magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A slice of Coke.
A slice of Coke and a cream
Oh, a
magazine.
slice, comma, of Coke.
Well, I don't say
I
the
was
word
trying
comma.
to think of what quantity
I
of
try
Coke
not
a
to
slice
say
is.
the word comma. If I was writing it, I'd throw
No,
a comma.
no. I just misunderstood.
I remember that place though, Georgie, with the separate room in the back with the 3
Yes.
or 4
Yes,
pinball machines and/or video games.
it was next
Yes.
to Lowey's American.
Yes, that
Yeah.
place, yeah.
Mhm.
And Fred, you and I had one of the worst jobs I've ever had, which was cleaning
Oh,
up the Whitestone Drive.
Oh my God.
Was that
Saturday
over
and
the
Sunday
summer between
mornings,
junior and senior year, right?
right?
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday mornings, what, 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh,
Condoms, diapers, White Castle bags, you name it, we cleaned it up.
Yeah, but
used
now
condoms.
you don't have to go to purgatory.
That's
Yeah.
it.
You're
Wow.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
didn't
have a
last
good
too long.
time, boys. You
I didn't
suffered
last
enough.
too long there either. I know you left. You got something on Wall Street, right?
Who, me?
Yeah, I believe, right? No, it was
A
high
little
school. It was after
something
high
on
school.
Wall Street, 28 years.
Yeah, it was after high school. You said the
After
hell
high
with this
school?
shit.
You have to high school?
Yeah, it was yeah, we graduated. Yeah.
I don't
And
remember. I don't remember.
yeah, you were like I can't do this.
Well, for a while, I was stuffing the papers in what the hell's the name of that place?
Rajas.
Rajas.
On the
Rajas.
circle. On the
On New
circle.
Grand Circle.
Yeah, that's an epiphany.
Mhm.
That's a
Yeah.
maybe strive for
Is
Next
something.
to Ellie's.
Is
Yes.
Stephen still there?
It's conveniently located across down the block from Ellie's.
Ellie's, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Ellie's, where we used to have breakfast
After the bar.
after the one job that all of us shared, which was drinking at Barrett's Welcome Inn. Yes,
It's a wonder we didn't have a punch clock in there
yes,
Right.
because we did 8-hour shifts, you know.
yeah. No, it was
Now that's a podcast in itself.
Yes, at Barrett's it was
Welcome
the
in.
honor system. You didn't need the punch clock, you know.
Yeah. I remember when I first started going there, and I'm a slightly younger than you guys. I was, well, except for Dennis, because I think I was 16. But the draft buds were 25 cents a glass.
I believe it, yeah.
It was right after the Civil War, so
Georgie, you worked there, didn't you? For a
I
time?
did. I worked there for, I don't know, I guess about a year or so. And
Was that your only
that was
stint?
interesting. What was that?
like we all
Was that
worked
your
there.
only bartending stint?
Yeah, it was backbreaking because you know, on a busy Friday night, you know, you'd be going from 6, you get a break, and then from 8 to 4, you were running around like a lunatic on Friday, Saturday night, trying to keep track of the money, trying to keep track of, you know, fights and shit. And then Kevin Barrett never had a porter, so the bartender at 4 a.m. would have to do the portering. So you have to clean the bathrooms, you have to sweep up, you have to.
You never did it solo, though, did you?
Whoever stayed over, depends on the night. Friday, Saturday, they always had 2 people.
Yeah, who
If
you
I-
usually work with? Kevin Barrett, Mike
I
Barrett.
work with Jerry Tierney. I work with Tommy Waters. I work with Kevin Barrett. I work with Mickey Barrett.
That's an episode.
Many of them. Many of them. Character after character.
Tommy Waters. I haven't even thought of that name in a long time. Jerry Tierney. I think he's on Facebook, right?
Yeah, Jerry
Yes.
Tierney is still with us, but unfortunately, all of those other gentlemen joined the choir invisible.
Even Tommy Waters, really?
Tommy Waters
yeah.
first, unfortunately.
He was first,
like
yeah.
way before, yeah.
I know Joe Malone passed away.
Oh,
right?
he was still hanging there when he died, right? I think.
He
Joe Malone, the
ducked
Clarkhead
into
clone.
Yeah.
Tommy Waters. I got a Tommy Waters story. We were in the bar. I don't know if I was working or not, but we were drinking, and he's telling me about his sister down in Florida, in Sarasota. So he goes, "You want to go down?" I said, "Well, yeah, when?" He goes, "In the morning." We left the welcome in. We went out. We got on People Express, and we flew down to Florida for a couple of days and stayed at his sister's house. Minnesota.
Wow.
Just,
Like sobering up on an airplane, right?
Yeah, really.
yeah, but the one thing I do remember is getting off because his sister didn't even know we were coming.
Ah,
So,
Oh, even better.
So we're
I had brought
outside
the brother
we're
home
outside
for
the
supper.
airport, laying in the sun, and waiting get a hold of his sister. He's trying to find a phone to call her. It was a disaster. I mean, it was a lot of fun, but looking back now, it was crazy.
Living by the seat of your pants back then, right?
yes.
The
If
way
I
to
did
go.
one of them shifts now that we used to do on the regular in the welcome in, I'd have to be in the hospital for a week.
Please.
I couldn't sit there and drink for 8 hours. I dropped that.
You make it past 11.
Yeah.
There was a reunion at St. Helena's about 10 years ago. And I was giving a ride to somebody at the end, and they went across the street to Barrett's to hang out. And I went in to fetch them. And it was the first time I had set foot in there in at least 5 years. And Mickey Barrett was behind the bar. And I was just so thrilled to see him. And I leaned over and I went, Mickey. And he said to me, I'll be with you in a second, Jay. I'll hold your horses. Like I had been there the night before. It was like, it was like Barrett's was frozen in time.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan was still president.
Oh, it went on after we stopped hanging out there. I went back there and hung out one night with Leary. It was like nothing ever changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember going there after a few weddings. I forget who.
After
Someone-
JR's wedding.
I guess. Yeah, that's true.
That's probably one of the weddings I went to. I got the most stewed was at JR's wedding.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You drank them. I believe you drank them out of all the tequila.
We did
Oh,
so
my.
many shots of tequila.
Yeah,
Oh,
they ran out.
I'm glad I wasn't there when JR got the bill.
JR wasn't there when the bill came either.
No, but we all went to the welcome in after that, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you boys had a good time.
Oh, I had a real good time.
And you drank my share of the tequila.
I remember playing the drums.
Not a problem.
Was it your uncle? Well, actually, the band played.
The band played.
songs.
The Sleepers played that night. Yes,
But,
and my uncle opened for us.
I also played the drums for when he came marching out.
Yes,
with bagpipes. Yeah.
Yes.
Couldn't hear a bloody thing, but
Uncle Joe, my Uncle Joe, yeah.
Does anyone remember whose bachelor party it was in the basement at Goonan?
Oh, it was Bill's.
Yes, Bill's.
It was Bill's.
That was a horror show.
To Bill.
To Bill.
Bill.
God rest his soul, Bill.
That was, oh yeah.
He almost didn't make the wedding. A week
That's
later,
right.
he got alcohol poisoning.
Uh-huh.
I remember Dorothy calling us that Monday and saying he has what the hell does he have with the liver?
I don't know. His eyeballs were yellow the following week when he got back.
Jaundice. That's it. She thought he had like, yes, and we were like,
He turned him yellow.
We didn't do it. It wasn't us.
Is that the wedding where after that we went to some bar and that drummer was there? The guy's father.
Sonny Igo.
Sonny, was that George's wedding or?
That was Bill's wedding.
Oh, that was Bill's.
That was Bill's wedding up in Rockland County, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh God, another one. Woof.
Yes, that was the first.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, fortunately, Bill's. We almost killed Bill at his bachelor party, but by Fernando's bachelor party, we had pretty much,
Had the hang of
honed
it.
the process. Freddie walked away without a scratch.
Well, you had your uncle play the pipes.
Pneumonia.
You had your uncle play the pipes at your wedding. Georgie had the entire NYPD Emerald Society play the pipes.
Transit police band. Yeah.
Huh? That was sweet.
Transit police band. It was before the
Castle Harbor. That was a lovely evening.
Yes.
Oh, another place. Yeah, the Castle Harbor.
great pork.
Yep.
Oh, you could family style at the Castle Harbor.
But that was sweet when they all came marching in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fired me up, it did,
Mhm.
Not that I needed firing up, I was half in the bag probably by the time they showed up.
No, several hours later at Hurley's, the same guy showed up, but they weren't dressed in bagpipe costume. They were dressed as New York City police officers serving a warrant. Come on, somebody help me with this. That didn't really happen. Full disclosure, fans of the Gritty Hour, that didn't really happen.
I was waiting for the
We were
rest of that
citizens.
story. Like, why the hell did you go to Hurley's after George's wedding? I was all ready to believe you.
I believe we wound up at Hurley's after George's wedding, but
We
I
did?
cannot speak for certain.
Huh.
George
Yeah.
liked Hurley. George,
No,
you
it
liked
was-
Hurley's.
We ended up in Hurley's after my bachelor party.
Okay, maybe I'm confused.
I remember
Hurley's
that.
instead
You
of
know, as
Doyle's.
Thomas mentioned before, I'm much older than the rest of you. You know, much older.
Georgie,
Well, it's 8
didn't
days
you meet
after.
Eileen at Hurley's?
More Doyle's thing.
The
We were-
Doyle's? Oh.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was Doyle's, not Hurley's. So embarrassed.
Hey, George,
I was
where
thinking
your
of
bachelor
Doyle's.
party? I'm drawing a blank.
Earrings up on 231st and
Oh,
Broadway.
yes. Okay.
What Hurley's? Which Hurley's? The one on the Boulevard, Brooklyn Boulevard?
No. Chip,
Tremont.
I think it was Chips by then, right? On
Yeah.
Tremont.
On Tremont, right on the
I
turn.
see. Okay, became Hurley's after that.
It was Hurley's before that.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I was talking about Doyle's,
I'm
I
all
was confused.
See,
We
once
should have
Hurley's-
just stuck to Barrett's,
Once
which
we
is what we
straight out
usually
of-
did.
we straight out of Barrettsville, come in. I didn't know where the hell I was. You know, except occasionally making a White Castle run at 3:30 in the
Ooh.
morning. Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
what was the diner over the bridge?
Oh, the Fort,
Right.
the Fort Lee.
Fort
Fort
Lee.
Lee.
The Fort Lee.
Well, why the hell did we go there?
I remember one night we went there after being.
I blame Tierney.
Yeah, being at the Meadowlands. I think it was the night that Jerry Cooney and Larry Holmes fought, and it was on closed circuit.
Oh, for like 2 minutes.
And we went, and
That
it
was
Wait,
in the
which was the
welcome
one?
in.
I think the fight went on longer than that, but Larry Holmes made short work of Jerry Cooney. But we were there. Now we were there, and we were there for all the races, for all the harness races. And I went in with Jerry Tierney and two other guys, and we hit a trifecta at the very beginning of the evening, the first race, and it was the only time I ever won, ever.
Well,
And then but I had a better night than Jerry Cooney.
even before we hanging out in bars, we used Freddie's father's car was our mode of transportation.
Oh, yeah, that was the old boat.
We used to call it the Romandetto mobile, right?
Nice big four-door,
Well,
But
the only guy I knew that knew how to drive our age.
Oh, yeah.
You must have been 16, 17, but it was,
Probably, yeah, I got my license. But I want to tie White Castle with your 10 top concerts, okay? You mentioned we went to see Greg Allman. Remember that time down at Asbury Park?
yeah.
Drove down. Now, I don't know if you guys recall, but on our way home, we stopped at a White Castle
Okay.
somewhere in Jersey. And when we got out, I think the first thing that all struck us, there was no bulletproof glass around the counter. Because, coming from the
What happens
Bronx,
with
Yes.
we were like, wow, we actually talk to these people.
We could hit these guys if we wanted to. Wow. Yeah, I remember that show. That was at the Stone Pony in
That's the Stone Pony? Yeah.
Did I mention
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
And he came out of the bath.
I don't think, George, were you on that trip with us down to see Greg Allman?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
Was that like a spur of the moment thing? We just decided.
I don't know.
No?
I remember the lights came on at 2:00 because that's when you had to stop drinking in Jersey.
Yep. Still.
That's when I said Jersey's not for me. Yeah.
one of my many miracles was me and Dennis going to Live Aid in '85
In Philly?
in Philly. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you guys went.
We started like 8 o'clock in the morning, and we drove down to Philly, and we were drinking and hanging out with it, and like 12 hours later,
You drove back?
Getting in the car. What was that?
You drove back?
I drove back from Philadelphia. Yeah, it was absolutely a miracle.
You're here to tell the tale. That's God bless you.
We stayed in hotels back. We stayed in hotels back then, right? When we go to
Right.
AC now. Well,
Yeah, and
we go to
you
AC
didn't
now.
You didn't even think about it. You just
No. Yeah, that's it. Drive home.
Yeah.
We go to AC now. It's a 2-hour drive. We're like, oh no, we got to stay over.
Because we had been out in Barrett's the night before.
Yeah.
Maybe went home to change or something. And then it was 1,000,000 degrees. And I just remember like 10 a.m. in a blazing sun watching
Status quo.
Yes, and
That
Judas
opened up
Priest,
the show in London.
and then Judas Priest in New York.
And the
All
Hooters,
in Lebanon.
the Hooters opened up in
and
Philly
Robert
because they
Hero
were a
and
Philly band.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure
Robert
I was with
Hazard
you
and
guys, or I was at that show. Jay, I was there with
The
you.
show with the Hooters. The time we went down to Philly to see Genesis with the Sleepers. I don't mean that the Sleepers played with Genesis. I mean you
When
Steve,
did that happen?
John, and
You
I.
guys play
that
with
was-
Genesis?
You guys,
That was Genesis. Elvis
Dennis, help me
Costello,
out. That was
and
yes,
Genesis,
JR.
Elvis Costello,
Elvis
Yes.
Costello, yeah, I remember
and
that.
and the
Blondie.
Pretenders.
We all went down in the
Oh, and the
Romandetto
Pretenders, my
mobile
God. Yes,
with the broken window. The night
Yeah,
before, they broke into my car. We
yeah,
we drove all the way down to Philly with no window.
yeah. But Tommy and I went with Steve and John.
Oh,
You
okay.
had I think Dennis, you were there, right?
I think you were with me,
With-
yeah.
Yeah.
And Rich, and we had
Right.
Manchurian bread.
Yes.
Oh, was that the famous? That's
So
what
that
we
wasn't
introduced
live,
them.
JR?
It was Genesis was the headliner.
Oh, okay.
And it was Elvis
Flock of
Costello.
Seagulls, maybe?
Elvis Costello, Blondie, and the Hooters. Denny says that the Pretenders were playing.
I
I would quite love to think I had seen the Pretenders, but
We also
I was kind of fading in and out of consciousness.
Tom,
we
you're
also
getting very
saw a
dark.
show. We also saw a show down there with Van Morrison headlining, and I don't remember. I guess he was the headliner, but I don't remember what the long show was. But I remember it was long enough that we heard the end of Van Morrison in the parking lot.
That was a horrible stadium. What was that? JFK Stadium?
RFK.
RFK.
JFK.
Phil.
Right.
Yeah.
The new arena is on that property now.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
All these years, I thought I went to Live Aid, but it wasn't. It was another show with a bunch of different bands.
Yeah, you shouldn't have just kept sending them money anyway.
It's
No,
like
I'm going to send them some more money. It's a good cause.
It's like the generation ahead of us always say, yeah, everybody says they went to Woodstock, you know. You know. But
I remember in law school we had a classmate who had gone to Shea Stadium to see the Beatles, and we always brought it up because it always made her much older than us. I think the idea that I went to Live Aid probably ages me a little bit.
Well, I went to the Palace Theater in Parkchester to watch the movie about the Beatles at Shea Stadium.
There you go.
Yes, and I saw the Three Stooges before that. It was a shemp, but it was still, it was
Okay,
still.
I got it. I found it. August 21st of 1982 at JFK Stadium. Genesis, Robert Hazard, Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Blondie, and Flock of Seagulls.
There you go.
I thought I remember the Flock.
So why did I
ran
think
so far away?
Why did I think that the Hooters were there? He asked rhetorically.
Yeah, I thought so too. All you
Yeah.
The
zombies.
Hooters might have opened a different Philly show. It might have been the one with Van Morrison, because I do remember Robert Hazard and the Heroes, and I remember All You Zombies. Because they're a Philly band. I think
Yes,
the
right,
Hooters
absolutely.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we saw them
in Philly
open
a
some
lot,
show in
shows.
Philly.
They had a moment in the sun.
Saw a bunch of shows down in Philly, actually. Saw Springsteen down there, right, Georgie? Would you with me?
Yeah, we saw them at the Spectrum.
Yeah.
Turn your light on, Tom. You're getting very dark on the.
All right. Yeah. Oh.
What is it, George? What is it like seeing Springsteen in non-New York location?
It's different. Philly is always crazy. I've seen him a few times in Philly, and the crowds are insane, even better than New York and Jersey. But not much different. And I saw him on this tour twice in Florida and once in Seattle, and I got tickets for Phoenix too in November. If there you go.
When I was living out there, I saw him in Oakland. And
Oh yeah, when you lived out there, right.
And it did not compare to a New York crowd.
No, I don't think they do. I think he's got a huge following, a crazy following, like the 95 corridor, from Florida up. I mean, he was very big early on in Virginia in the 70s for some reason. And, Philly, Washington, Boston, Connecticut. It's, but I'm telling
He's a good earner.
73, and he's not running around like he used to, but he still sounds good.
He
And
canceled a lot of shows recently.
yeah, somebody in the band's got COVID, so they haven't announced who, and they had some shows where people, like one show, Steven didn't show because he had COVID. Niels didn't show on another show because he was had COVID, but they were able to get through it. So this time it had to be a key player. It had to be, it either was Bruce or it was Max or Roy, someone who couldn't be replaced or covered up for. So, but they're going to get back. They were going to come back tonight, and then the doctor wasn't 100% sure if they were going to be able to sign off on it. So so I don't know. The next show is somewhere in the New York area later this week.
Yeah, because
You got the snowstorm today, so it's a good thing they canceled Albany tonight.
yeah, it's still snowing out here.
Yeah.
It's been snowing all damn day.
Yeah.
What's the temperature in Vegas, Georgie?
Vegas, it's in the 60s, but it's been raining for the past 4 hours.
Oh, you poor bastard.
So you finally got some water.
Yeah, I mean, things have improved actually from what I've read with that, especially with that big West Coast storm that started on the West Coast and ended up coming towards you guys. There was they got a ton of rain.
Well, Lake Mead's filling back up.
It's probably gone up a little, but still, it's very, very low. I mean, if you go out there and take a look at the water levels on the stone and stuff, you can tell how far down it goes. But surprisingly, Lake Mead is what's more important to Lake Mead is the Rocky Mountains and the snow. When the snow melts, it goes right into the Colorado River, which feeds into the reservoir there. So it's more about that. I mean, the rain helps, there's no doubt, but it's more important that about what they get out of the Rocky Mountains.
Well, they've been getting a lot of snow in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah. So it's I think they were last time I looked, they were like 120% about a month ago from what they would normally be at that time of year. So if it keeps up for the next month or so, then maybe we'll be okay. But
You can flush your
I mean,
toilet.
we're giving water out of that place gives water to California, Arizona, and Mexico from Lake Mead. So
New Mexico or Mexico the country?
Mexico, the country.
No.
There's some sort of
Oh,
agreement.
cut them
that they
off.
have. Yeah.
Yeah. As Dennis chugs a thing of water. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yes, tonight's weather brought to you by.
So how are you doing over there, Mr. McCarthy?
Which one?
Oh, I gotta get in the habit. You know what I should do, a podcast with you and Dennis and Betty and Tommy and Chris and Andy when he's not on Fox News.
You'll never get a word in edgewise.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I'll just hit record and sit back and listen to you.
It would be like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That would I could make a few phone calls if you like.
How's your Santa mother doing?
Our sainted mother?
Yeah.
I'll field that one if you don't mind, Denny.
Please.
She's doing wonderfully
She
well.
likes you better.
But that's patently for look, I don't know. I don't know who she liked best, but I know who she didn't like best. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. She loved us all. She loves us all equal. My mother is fantastic. My mother is doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good.
I had a conversation about a year ago with Rich, who's I guess still traveling. He's supposed to be on the podcast tonight, but hope he's doing okay. How blessed we all were growing up. At least I felt blessed. Was all you guys here? Your parents were like second, third, fourth, fifth parents to me. Like Georgie's mother and father, and hey, Fernando. The thing I loved about your father, Freddie, God rest his soul, was no matter how when I called you on the phone, no matter how I asked for you, that's how he yelled for you. So if I asked for it's Fernando there, he'd say, "Hey, Fernando." No, I said, "It's Freddie." He'd say, "Hey, Freddie."
Oh, you could have had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, right. Hey, Bruno, is Bruno there?
Hey, Bruno. Hey, Bruno.
Sorry, no
Is Shirley there? Hey, Shirley.
But he was a good man, and so was your mother, and obviously Marge. And so, yeah, we were blessed. Let's face it. We had a good stock of parentage.
Thomas, we threw you a 24th birthday party at the Williamsbridge Inn,
Oh, I remember that.
and
21,
the Sleepers played the 24th.
24th?
I swear to you, it was the 24th, and
Huh.
the Sleepers played, and the great Bud McGeady showed up, and we were like, we got to invite his parents, and we got your father. Your father's like, my boy you having a birthday party for my boy? I'll be there with bells on. And it was
He
the
enjoyed
first time.
himself. I remember
The
him
first time
dancing
he
with
saw
all.
the Sleepers, right? And he came up to me after. He says, "I'm going to be fans of you guys from now on. You guys are really good."
I remember him dancing with all the Woodlawn girls that night.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Dressed to the nines.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Well, McGeady men always know how to dress for things. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm dressed. Clothes on. Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, we were blessed. I'm blessed to have just grown up with you guys. You know, half the battle of turning out in life is who you grow up with, really.
No, we
True.
had it all.
Yep.
We had a great neighborhood. We had
Yeah.
a great kind of church that took care of us. We had bars. What more could we need?
Went right from the teen club in the gym to Barrett's Welcome In.
Straight out of midnight mass across the street.
Right across the street.
Yeah,
How
with our
convenient.
Economy
social
of movement.
graduation ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you had everything within walking distance: a place to live, a church, a bar, and a funeral home. You could just
That's it.
the whole rotation.
The whole circle of life was right in that triangle.
The interesting thing
circle
was
of life, man, you know?
you had more choices of funeral home than you did of bars.
Right.
You know,
Right.
You know, I always thought that if I ever dropped dead in Scanlon Square, there'd be like, you know, like three different undertakers coming out, you know. That got very dark. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
I
that.
saw him first.
Actually, to complete that circle, I don't know about the rest of you, but I was born in Parkchester General Hospital.
The
Really?
Cape of No Hope.
Parkchester General.
I was born in Misericordia.
As was I.
I was in Doctor's Hospital in Manhattan.
Freddie.
New York Hospital.
So I got to Parkchester before all of you.
That's right.
Willy
Beat us
nilly.
all.
Tom, didn't your mom work at Parkchester General?
She did. She was a registered nurse there. Yeah, in the maternity ward. So I'm sure they cut her a deal. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like a freebie, right?
Like a buyback, if you will.
Ironically, though,
Slight discount.
The
my family,
the 6 one's on us.
my family lived in the Castle Hill projects, but she worked at Parkchester General, and I guess she didn't know at the time that we'd be moving there. You know, 10, 12, 15 years later, whatever. So.
And your mom was the nurse at St. Helena's Commercial School.
She was
when I was at Scanlon. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd see her all that. But you know, your mom. Nobody was sweeter and kinder to us than Tom's mom.
Oh, absolutely.
And nobody was cooler when we got, in her word, rambunctious.
I was gonna say she was so calm. My mother would have like took a bat and you broke my furniture.
Yeah, she was calm unless you guys were dragging me to go see Tommy.
Oh,
well, we didn't manage to get you to see Tommy that night.
Oh, it was in the Catholic News, but it was
another famous.
Yes.
I was trying every trick in the book to get to go because it was R-rated, so she wouldn't
I
let
thought
me
that
go.
was the Gauntlet. It was
Oh,
Tommy.
no, the Gauntlet was. Tommy was allowed to go to the Gauntlet, and his dad said they spent $1 million on the bullets alone. It's a great movie.
Was that Steve McQueen?
That was Clint Eastwood.
Oh,
Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a very I had a very rough experience at the Gauntlet that we'll talk about on another podcast. But I'm much better now.
Yeah, I couldn't go see R-rated movies.
Well, unless the Catholic News, gave them
Didn't
imprimatur, right? You know.
Well, they did, but I was
Yes.
I was using a trick. I didn't know my mother actually read that thing.
It's amazing to think back that it was one of the ratings for movies in the Catholic News was condemned.
Yeah. Right.
Think about that now.
Right. The Catholic News condemned Animal House. Why? I don't understand. A buddy movie, you know. Tom, I think I for one want to take this opportunity to apologize to you because we really shouldn't have gone to see Tommy when you couldn't come with us, but we did. We were like, It's too bad McGeady can't go. Well, we better get there.
I offered to close my eyes during the Aunt Margaret baked bean scene. You know.
I think your mother was more upset about the Eric Clapton, liturgical dance to eyesight to the blind, and their very specific, their very interesting take on communion. But
You know,
yeah, and Margaret and the baked beans certainly would not have helped.
No.
that was funny. A few weeks ago, there was a broadcast to the Who doing Tommy. A few years back, they've never done Tommy from end to end. It was at the Royal Albert Hall.
Even
Was
back in the
Whistle alive?
day.
What?
Was Aunt Whistle alive?
No. He was dead already.
Oh,
And Zach Starkey was playing drums. But you know, I watched. It was really fantastic. I said, you know what? I got to see Tommy. I haven't seen that movie in like probably since we saw it.
yeah.
It does-
I've seen it a
it-
couple of times.
And
It doesn't hold up.
I actually found it somewhere on some streaming service or whatever. And I'm sitting there going, man, what freaking drugs are they doing?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was Ken Russell.
yeah.
Who was like.
I mean, yeah, the baked beans. Eric Clapton giving out drugs instead of the host.
Yes, right.
You guys ever see the? You
King
guys
Turner.
ever see the uncut version of Caligula?
No.
Not
Is
that
it
I
uncut?
admit on the radio.
It's a friggin' porno movie. It really
Well,
is.
it basically
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, you mean I saw there was a version that they did that I'm speechless.
Which is rare.
When I admit that I saw Caligula, and what I saw, it's unfathomable to me that they cut anything out of it.
Yeah, really.
Like what I saw made the final cut. Wow.
The one they released and the
impressed.
one that was uncut is vastly different, and it's unbelievable that people like Peter O'Toole were in that movie.
And John Gielgud, they must have needed the money.
No,
Yeah, I
I think they demanded that name off the credits when they found out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I read that somewhere. Yeah,
what was the other guy's name that was in
they
Clark?
were shocked.
What was his
Uh,
name?
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm
He
McDowell.
was the protagonist, I think. I
Yeah,
think he played Caligula.
He did. He played Caligula. Yeah. I don't think he gave a shit. Just pay me. I don't care what
Just
the
pay me. I think Barrett showed it one
no,
night.
it was a departure for him because he usually did feel good movies like A Clockwork Orange. There is me, that is Alex. You know.
Yes. Well, but none of them come to can hold water to Boulevard Nights. You know.
Oh, Boulevard
Oh.
Nights.
Yeah.
Oscar material.
I think well, at least I think I went because it had Benny and the Jets was in the movie. The song Benny and the Jets.
You know what, Tommy? I'm sorry, but I think that was Aloha, Bobby and Rose.
Oh yes, correct. Yes.
And I'm trying to remember what we saw that.
I think it had Tiny Dancer in it. Well,
Well,
I
everything
believe.
has Tiny Dancer in it.
Yeah.
Even
It
Citizen
was some
Kane
Elton
has
John
a little
song.
bit of Tiny Dancer in it. You know his name. It's Tiny Dancer. You know.
No, but yeah, we saw some winners back in the day.
Oh yeah, but it was playing at the Circle.
You know,
$2.
and Rocky Horror at least 30 or 40 times.
Yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
that's when I used to see the Little Rascals and whatever the preview of the movie was. Little Rascals and
Three Stooges.
Three Stooges. It was the midnight show, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the unexpurgated Little Rascals.
Or you could go to the Palace Theater and see all of the 8 movies in one sitting.
Yeah.
Could go ape.
Did you guys see The Godfather in the theater or not?
I don't think I ever did.
Nope.
No.
We were too young. I mean,
Nah.
and it was first released.
Well, that was we were too. It was 72, so I was
Yeah.
what 9, 10. So
I saw Godfather 3 in the theater on the day it was released.
Denny, did you go with us when we went to see Godfather 3 on Christmas
No.
evening? I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah.
Andy. I think Andy and Dennis. Andy
It
and
opened
Tommy
Christmas, right? It
Yeah.
opened Christmas Day, right?
and I. Right, and it was packed.
Yep.
It was packed. It was. I saw it at the Whitestone. I was sitting in the front row like this. That's a long time to sit like this.
the White
And not
Stone
get a haircut.
Drive-in?
Yeah, no, the Whitestone multiplex.
Oh, they will be okay. Yeah.
Yes. We went
And
from
what
the
is that
multiplex
now?
to the multiverse. It is now in transition. I couldn't tell you what it is.
Last time I drove by, there was looked like a car storage.
Like massive construction going on. They
Something,
must be
yeah.
doing something. I'll find out. You know, I'll drive down there as soon as we're done.
Yeah,
If
you
the
gotta
snow
find out
stops.
what everything is. What is
Yes.
Barrett's? What is the Rosemart? What is the
The
White Stone?
Rosemont is still a grocery store. I don't think it's called the Rosemont anymore, but it's still a grocery store. The last
How about
What
time
is
I-
the
Pakula's?
Circle Theater?
Pakula's next
Cool.
door. What's that?
Pakula's and
I
Beacon
wish I-
Drug.
Right. And what about Jarab's?
Oh yeah, Gerard.
Bob Jarab.
Yeah. And
Jerry's
Timmy Stewart-
Pizza. I think that's still there. Jerry's Pizza. I heard.
Yeah, he lives in Vero Beach, Florida, that guy, Jerry.
Oh, he does. Oh, he's still alive, huh?
Yeah. Well, last I heard, it was about 15 years ago.
I think
Oh.
Jerry's Pizza was in the news a few years ago because they were asking people there if they ever heard of AOC, Alexandra Cortez.
Mhm.
Like if she really lived in Parkchester, and people were
Who's
like,
down with AOC?
I've never seen her.
Did she live in Parkchester?
She claimed. I mean,
Well,
that's a
what's his name,
district. That's a
what's his
district.
name
she represents.
ran against him a couple of years ago.
John Cummings.
Yeah.
Johnny Spoon.
Cummings.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Who actually sang for us at a Bill Clark Foundation function.
Yep.
With Timmy
He
Curtin.
plays up in Brewski's all the time with Timmy Curtin's band.
Yeah. He's a good singer, actually.
He was good.
Certainly.
Not a good campaigner, but he's a good singer.
He's down in South
Come on.
Carolina now.
And
He
he did
what?
a mean imitation of Brother Andrew at St. Raymond's.
Yes. Yes. I remember
Were there
that.
any kind imitations of Brother Andrew at St. Raymond?
John Cummings was a Raymond's guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple years, a
Through
few
and
years
through.
ahead of me.
He was on the faculty there for many years.
How do you know all the Raymond's people, George? Since you're a Spellman guy, right?
But it's just from the neighborhood. I knew Cumbo from Little League because he was one of the umpires in Little League, and we got along. And then I did a little umpiring too in Parkchester Little League for a while. So
Yeah, me too.
I
He's
can't
some of
believe
the
that.
Tommy
Dennis,
Schaefer's father was
right, that's
with
right, Bob
the head
Schaefer.
of the umpires guys. Yeah.
Denny,
Yeah,
I can't believe you forgot that George Bauer knows everybody.
I think it's the other way around.
Oh, well, I mean, I remember when the Pope came in 1979. I was at Madison Square Garden, and somebody leaned over and said to me, pointed to the Pope, and said, "Who's that guy with George Bauer?"
Never gets old, that joke.
Thank you. Thank you for laughing.
It's
Warmed an
let's
old man's
elaborate.
heart.
The first time he told that joke, it was in the Vatican, and George was on vacation.
Right, George. There was a pizza delivery. There was,
He honed it down pretty
the
good.
Swiss guards were sharpening their pikes.
Yes. Well, one of the advantages, we're recording this on the 14th of March, even though it won't be out for a couple of weeks. But one of the advantages of going to St. Helena's or in the Archdiocese of New York is we got St. Patty's Day off every year.
Yeah,
For a while we did, right?
sure. No, it's
sure they're still
It's
closed.
still no. It's seriously. It's still a holiday for the Archdiocese because that's the patron.
It's just New York, though, right?
I can only speak to New York, but yeah, I mean, I'm not. I have to show up at the prestigious Kenneth Clark Academy on Friday. When your place of business is not closed on St. Patrick's Day, you really have to go to work. If your name is McCarthy, it's very suspect if you don't show up. Yeah, like hell he has COVID. He's got Fifth Avenue sickness.
It's 24-hour COVID.
Yes.
Well, didn't that academy, wherever the hell you got those tickets, you and I were sat in the grandstands for St. Patty's Day once.
Yeah, I taught at Scanlon with a friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a while, Hillary Byrne, who was in the AOH, and he was always gracious enough to get passes for us.
It wasn't that
that
long
was-
ago. I think Hillary Clinton was.
Hillary Clinton and Rudy Giuliani marched in the parade.
Yeah, but Hillary
How
doubled
did that
back. She
happen?
marched past us like 4 or 5 times. I think she made a right, changed the sweater, and came around again.
I think you think too much about Hillary Clinton, Tom. If you had, I know I remember that was the only time I ever saw her in person, although I was 500 feet away. Little slip of a thing. But Irish through and through.
And I remember George had a slight conversation with Mayor Koch when we were younger at St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And years later,
Didn't he
during the
say? Didn't he yell at you? How am I doing? You told him you suck or something.
Sure was the first time you
The
heard
milk
that.
of human kindness.
actually, in retrospect, he was one of the better mayors.
He was.
And
He
True.
was. Yeah.
and
You
he
never
always
had
took
it so
care.
good.
He always took care of the civil service guys. You always got decent, contract increases. So
You
I
were
mean,
on the job, but he was still mayor. You were on the job.
oh yeah. I remember in '86 we were doing some the Harbor Fest. They brought all those boats in, and I was assigned down to South Ferry in the headquarters. And he came in for a little while and took pictures with everybody. It was very nice.
No, he was a good mayor in retrospect,
Yeah.
as you say. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Ed Koch appeared at Manhattan College many times. He was the speaker at my a friend and I Fred's graduation, my almost graduation from Manhattan College.
Yeah, he spoke, right?
Yes, he spoke. He was.
At the convention. Yep.
Fun fact: he came in at the last minute to replace. Wait for it, Bill Cosby.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you kidding? Really?
Bill Cosby was called away on business at the last minute. You remember, Fred, that while we were at Manhattan College, and I wasn't anywhere near it, but the Cosby Show filmed an episode, or part of an episode in Dratty Gym.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Well, so Cosby was supposed to be the guest speaker at our graduation, but Ed Koch filled in. And a couple of months before, he came to just speak, and I was online to ask him a question. And this girl who looked like an extra in The Quiet Man was in front of me, and she said to him, "How could you say you support the Irish when you welcomed Charles and Diana to New York?" And he sliced her and diced her, and I just got off the line. I said, "I don't need this. I'm not asking this guy a question." He said, "You're ignorant and you're totally misinformed, and I'll tell you why." And he reduced it to tears.
That was Ed Koch.
Right? Yeah, I was just like, I'm not asking this guy a question. I don't remember what I was going to ask him.
I just remember George, him saying, "How am I doing?" And George said, "You suck." George, didn't you work with Eric Adams, the current mayor?
Yeah, I did. I went down at headquarters, and I guess early '90s. He was over in the data processing unit in transit headquarters. I was down there for a few years, so yeah, we ran into each other all the time. So
How you like the job he's doing down there? Doing a hell of a job.
I'm glad to be in Vegas. Thank you.
That says it all.
If only there was data to process.
Well, things seem like they're off the rails in Manhattan, but you only get the bad news up here in the boondocks.
I'll tell you what, though, I don't think Eric Adams sleeps. I give that much to him. I mean, I won't speak to anything other than that. He's everywhere, like Koch.
Right.
And to be fair, like Giuliani, they were everywhere. It was. I would say, as we have been saying, that it was a rare. In all seriousness, it was a rare New Yorker who did not have some kind of encounter with Ed Koch. Didn't see him somewhere, didn't run, because he was everywhere. Yeah. And I think, you got to give that much to this guy, that he's
Dinkins too. Dinkins.
He's
one of the best maneuvers on the MTR is getting behind the mayor because it clears the traffic. You got 15 cars. In
fairness,
behind the last cop car.
A beam was everywhere. You just couldn't see
him. I'm down here.
Didn't he used to stay on phone books, or was that a folk legend?
All of a sudden, there was a tug on my trousers. Mr. Mayor, here, get on my shoulders, Mr. Mayor. You can see everything.
He represents the Lollipop Guild.
Yes.
Well, say what you want about David Dinkins.
The house began to twitch.
He was so bad, I don't think we would have gotten Giuliani without him.
That's true. That's true.
I say the same thing about Reagan and Jimmy Carter. So
you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
I think Jimmy Carter is the one who propelled Ronald Reagan to office more than anything.
Do you
Yeah.
remember when Jimmy Carter came to Parkchester
Yes.
during the campaign
the
swing?
South Bronx.
No, he was at the Hampton House.
Really?
Yes, and somebody came
They had
by.
that racing machine there, didn't they?
Yes, and Pong.
Did he go there to play Pong?
No, no,
He
he
had
went
money
there for
left
the
over from
fine
delivering
French
the
fries.
papers.
Yeah,
He went
right.
there for a basket of popcorn and to play Pong. No, he was campaigning at Hampton House, and I remember somebody saying to me, "That guy who's running for president, Jimmy Carter, is, he's campaigning at the Hampton House." And I said, he's not going to win, and I didn't go.
Yeah.
You throw away greatness,
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's going to die.
and it's my fault.
And Biden's giving the eulogy.
That should be
dark
interesting.
turn all of a sudden.
Right,
Yeah,
you know.
we're heading that
He's-
direction again.
He's gonna die. It's my fault. Biden's doing the eulogy.
One day, Tito Puente is going to die.
And he
I've
did.
been listening to him for years.
Well,
Well,
I really
Biden will give a eulogy for Dixie Carter at Jimmy Carter's funeral.
I really do appreciate you guys coming on tonight. I know all of us were in Vegas except for JR last October, a couple of Octobers ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, was it? Or was it
No,
after
no,
COVID?
no.
Oh, it was
Post-COVID.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how long you've had that beard.
There you go. I almost forget what I look like without it.
No.
Let's see.
I have a picture. Would you like to see?
That's okay.
We'll have to do this again, hopefully in person, But I think you four are the last four that don't have a podcast. There's Dennis without his beard.
Who is that?
Yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer.
What do you mean we're the last four? You mean like that we don't host our own podcast?
You're the only four people left in America that don't have their own podcast. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we have to use
Probably.
yours.
That's it.
You could use
Well,
mine as long as you need it.
I
We'll have
thought
to
we're
pick a
staying on
topic
until
next
Rich
time.
shows up.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Rich. He didn't respond to the text. He didn't respond to you earlier, George?
Nope, he has not responded. So he's
Oh.
he's probably flying. Maybe he got to, I don't know.
The weather, yeah.
The weather's screwed up too. So.
I think he's in Houston. He was in Arkansas and Houston yesterday.
Well, I talked to him last night. He was in Houston.
Yeah, so I
He
don't
just
know
got
how
to the
he does
hotel.
that. I could barely make it home from work, and I live right across the street. I don't know how he does all that traveling, But it was a great pleasure having you guys on.
Thank you, Tom.
Rich
Thank you.
not showing up will be an excuse to do it again for a little further on up the road.
Great.
And we'll
With or without the recording.
next time we'll get Dorothy and Betty on. We'll have a whole jamboree. We'll do an hour podcast, and everyone will get 2 minutes to talk.
Thank you,
All
Tom.
right, guys.
Thank
Tom,
you.
it's
Hey,
been a
good to
pleasure.
see everybody.
So very good to see you all.
Back in the
Very
Holy
good to
Bronx.
see you all.
We
Back in the
awfully
Holy
back in the
Bronx.
Holy Bronx. Yeah.
Spiritually, back in the Holy Bronx.
I might throw a little bit of that in when I do this mix.
That
I'll
would
send
be.
you a check.
And we were talking about ELP, so we need the.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Oh yes, yes.
Gotta throw that in there, right?
The show to
Time
never
thing.
end.
He's got to pay a royalty for that.
The last 20 seconds of Lucky Man.
Well, Carnival number 9 was the theme song to WPLJ TV commercials. I don't know if you remember that.
I
Yes,
do.
yes, yes. Yep.
Back when radio stations actually did TV commercials.
Let's see Emerson Lincoln Palmer get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, as
And
long as-
Barry Manilow.
Jay Giles.
Jay
Warren
Giles.
Zevon.
Okay. Jethro. Well, Warren Zevon's on the ballot this year, so
Oh,
that's
I don't-
progress.
Well, did you vote for him?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Ow.
When Donna Summer got in before the Moody Blues, I was a little turned off
Breathe
about the
deep
Rock and Roll
the
Hall of Fame.
gathering gloom and watched lights fade in every room.
Have any of you guys ever been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I have.
Nope.
Yeah.
I dig
I
it.
have.
I
It
dig
ain't
it.
worth the trip. I'm just.
It's-
You don't think so?
I thought it sucked.
I thought I didn't love it. I thought it was a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, and I think they could have done a lot more with it, to be honest.
I think the multimedia stuff is very, very good. I think you could spend a day just listening. They have the one-hit wonders. They have the 500 essential songs. I liked it, but I tell you what, did you, George, when you were there, did you go to the Christmas Story Museum, which is about 20 minutes away?
I did not. I know.
Oh, it's fabulous.
We went to the Brown Stadium is right down the block, and they were having an outdoor practice. So we went.
It's a
we went
compact little town, Cleveland. Everything is there.
Yeah.
It's actually very nice.
I
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I would absolutely go again.
Well, maybe we'll meet there in person one day soon.
Sounds good.
Right after we go to Normandy and Ireland and Gettysburg, we'll head out to Cleveland.
And perhaps even to the moon one day.
One of you win the goddamn lottery, and I'll jump on your coattails. That's it.
Keep trying.
All
trying,
right.
yeah.
Have a good night, man. Thank you so much for being on.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
guys.
Have a good